The president said in Tahoe that he had tentatively decided to recommend everyone get the new vaccine. When is he going to decide finally?
So as I think you've heard from the FDA and CDC, they've made an announcement on the new vaccine. So certainly they said that there'll be an updated vaccine mid-September, I believe. So we know that, as you all know, vaccinations against COVID-19 remains the safest protection for avoiding hospitalization, long-term health outcomes, and death, which is why we are going to be encouraging Americans to stay up to date on their vaccines. I would refer you to DHS, as they have, I just mentioned, FDA and CDC mentioned that they'll have the new vaccines by mid-September.
And then as it relates to COVID vaccine funding, the president said that he had signed off on a proposal internally to present Congress with a request for additional funding. Do you have any additional details about the size of that funding request, what it would be used for, and what would the impact be if Congress does not provide that additional funding on Americans and their ability to get that vaccine?
So I don't have anything new to say or to add to what the president said at this time. What I can say is that we are prepared for the fall. As the CDC and FDA mentioned, that we will have vaccines available by mid-September. We believe we are in the strongest position yet to fight COVID-19. A lot of that is because of this work that this president has done since day one of his administration. Okay, Karen.
To go back to the president's comments from Friday about the COVID funding request, when he said he was asking, or he signed off on a proposal to present to Congress a request for additional funding for a new vaccine, why was that not included in the $40 billion supplemental funding request to Congress that was sent out this month?
I don't have anything else to share on the president's comments at this time, so I want to be very clear at that. Just don't have anything else more to add. What I can say is that we are prepared for the fall. We believe that we're prepared for the fall. We believe that we are in a better position than we've ever been to combat COVID-19. And that's because of the work that the president has done. You heard from FDA, you heard from CDC, who have said that there's going to be new vaccines that's going to be available mid-September. And look, because of the work that this administration has done with the leadership of this president, we have been able to put together a comprehensive way to deal with this pandemic, to deal with COVID-19. And we have put forth multiple tools to do that. And the vaccine clearly is one of that. As it relates to what the president said, I just don't have anything to add at this time.
And on that new vaccine that's going to be available in mid-September, the CDC data says that only 56 million Americans, 17% of the population, received the updated shot last year. What type of public messaging campaign or effort will the administration and the White House be doing starting in mid-September to get people to get that shot, to get more people than last year to get that shot?
As you know, Karen, this is an issue that you have followed very closely for the past 2 years, and you have known that this administration, when it comes to informing the American people about these vaccines, about the different tools that this president and this administration has put forward, we have really put informing Americans as a priority. And so we'll continue to do that. We know that COVID-19 vaccinations are the safest protection for avoiding hospitalization, long-term health outcomes, and death. And that is why we are going to continue to encourage Americans to stay up to date on their vaccines. And so you'll hear more from us on that. And as you know, that is something when it comes to informing Americans, American families about the vaccine. We certainly have been really something that we put at the forefront as we move forward with our comprehensive approach to dealing with this pandemic. I would also refer you to the HHS on anything more specifics on this new vaccine.
Given what you've said so far about the president's preparing for COVID and being ready for any sort of fall surge, and what the president said today at the middle school, does the administration believe that all of the resources are in place, that they're adequate? Should there be a case uptick that maybe is concerning to some districts and they maybe consider whether or not to leave kids in the classroom?
So a couple of things. I've talked about the historic progress that our administration has made in the ability to manage COVID-19, so that it's no longer a meaningful disruption to the way that we move in our day-to-day life, right? So that is something that the president has taken seriously. We believe we are in the strongest position yet in the strongest position yet to deal with COVID-19, as I've said multiple times at this point. Anything that we might see in the fall or in the winter. And that's because safe and updated vaccines that will be available in mid-September, widely available at-home COVID tests, right? I talked about the different tools that this administration has been able to put forward, widely available effective treatments, which can reduce the risk of severe illness, hospitalization, and death. And we are also going to encourage Americans to get their updated COVID-19 vaccine in addition to their annual flu shot. Let's not forget that is important for Americans to get, and an RSV immunization for people over 60 and for infants. That is something that we're going to continue to make very clear to Americans across the country. As it relates to any uptick nationally, while the CDC is reporting an increase in infections and hospital admissions overall remains low. But again, we believe that we are in a good position, in the strongest position that we have been in the past 3 years or so to deal with COVID-19. There's going to be an updated vaccine in mid-September. We're going to continue to encourage Americans to get their updated vaccine, to stay updated on their vaccines more broadly, but also to make sure they get the RSV and also to make sure that they're getting the flu shot.
I guess specifically, though, is there a message to school districts as kids are back in school now? And, it's not just COVID. As you mentioned, there are a lot of things that can make kids, sick this time of year.
I mean, that's why I mentioned the RSV. That's why I mentioned the flu, right? All of those things are important for Americans to stay updated on. So as kids return to school, to your point, CDC continues to recommend that people are up to date, again, on their COVID-19 vaccines. The agency has also laid out a number of steps people can take to keep themselves and their loved ones safe. If folks go to cdc.gov, it's important. If Americans or their families across the country have any concerns, any questions, they should go to cdc.gov, and they'll lay out ways to protect their loved ones, to protect their kids. Decisions is at the district level, as you all know, when it comes to any decisions on what tools they're going to use, whether it's masking or whatever, however they're going to move forward. That is something that's decided on a local level. But again, the CDC has laid out ways for for schools and families to move forward if they have concerns. But again, we are going to continue to encourage folks to be updated on their vaccine, the RSV, let's not forget, make sure they get that, and also the flu vaccine. All of those things are incredibly important as we head into the fall and winter months to keep our loved ones safe.